story as we have the NASDAQ 100 near session highs up about 1.8% with yields down. It, of course, takes those valuation pressures off. But Christian Fromhertz, CEO of Tribeca Trade Group, thanks so much for joining us. On the year, it's a little bit of a different story because yields, of course, backing up in a huge way on the year. So the Russell 2000 small cap, the strongest on the year. Tech underperforming, up just about 7%. Over the next few months, do you think that tech is going to take on the Russell 2000 16% gain, or do you think that the reflation trade will stay in place?
Thank you, Abigail, and great to be here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting what's going on in terms of, the yields are something to kind of keep an eye on, and I think as long as they kind of stay sideways, a little bit range bound, and really don't take another level higher in terms of yields, we're getting to see the Qs kind of come back into picture here. So, a very easy level to watch, I think, in the Qs is 335. And if we can kind of remain above that level, which is an area that we've had a little bit of trouble getting through, maybe we can see a little bit of a daylight ahead move higher in the Qs right here.
So let's tie in the VIXN or the VXN, the NASDAQ 100 VIX index, because it is somewhat stuck too, but it almost looks like it could be putting in a double bottom of some sort. Basically, the idea that there could be some volatility ahead, that some folks may be thinking about buying vol. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting one to watch. And VXN is the VIX for the Qs rather than just looking at the VIX alone, which of course is for the S&P. And, we haven't really seen that break down back to levels that we saw pre-pandemic. So I think a good level to keep an eye on is 20. And I think that would make for good confirmation that what we're seeing there is the volatility continue to kind of drain out of the index, and possibly we could see that shoot ahead higher in the Qs. But I'd like to see that break 20.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Christian, because it may not break 20 until Apple gets on board, because Apple is in this stealth correction down about 13%, I believe, from its all-time high. So talk to us about Apple and Cisco, another old school tech name. But you like Cisco. That's your trade idea.
Yeah, and I think Apple is one of the pieces of the puzzle. It's a 10% weight in the Q, so it's the biggest weight, and it's been very quiet. There hasn't really been too much option activity. We did actually start to see a little bit of pickup and a little bit of dip buying, and I think Apple, if it can hold in here, it is technically a higher low. So I think that maybe we could start to see a little bit of a push higher in Apple, and you got a real nice level to watch, which is the 200 period moving average to kind of trade against here in Apple.
And
Cisco is another name where we're just seeing a lot of old school tech, things, a lot of names. I call it, the old school memes. Names like Cisco, IBM, they're actually doing some of the nice breaking out. So that's one area where we have seen some call buying in Cisco. Just yesterday, we saw the October 55 calls, a nice block order that was over $1 million in size. And I like that trade. That's a Cisco October 55 calls for about $2 for looking for a break higher in Cisco.
Great stuff as always. Christian Fromhertz of Tribeca Trade Group, thanks for joining us for Options Insight today. And from New York, this is Bloomberg.